Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani and I welcome you in this daily Hindu analysis video. In the morning these videos come, in the evening the MCQ videos come. Whatever facts we have in this newspaper, I make these questions and we discuss them in detail in the evening lesson. So the evening lesson complements this important morning lesson, and issues are very crucial because you remain aware about the ongoings and the current affairs, and these things are there in the newspaper today. In the morning every day, and when you are aware about the issues, then you remember the context, and when you remember the context, you can remember the particular important facts and the informations. Otherwise, if you will try to remember those details in an isolated manner without discussing the context, then you can never remember these things and surely will make mistakes, and mistakes means negative marking in the prelims stage, and for the mains also these things will be counterproductive. So follow both the lessons, and they are hardly less than 1 hour combinedly, both these lessons, and these are very useful. So 29th of July, let's start the lesson. Pocket News app is trending on Google Play. You can download that, and these courses, these are affordable courses by top faculties. Description is given below the video, and you can call on these numbers, and you can visit the website also for the chat section. All these courses are available, and PDF you will get on this Facebook group I upload there, and you will also find the Telegram channels link there. So anywhere you can get the PDF regarding the Telegram channel of StudyIQ. You all know about that. You can follow me on Instagram too. This is the link for Telegram channel. Now some idioms and a word about the articles today. Facts are not much today. Articles are there. Sexism in Parliament. It is regarding Azam Khan's statement against Mrs. Rama Devi, and that was really objectionable. Now, one thing that is to be discussed, and that is to be said, that the action must be there against Azam Khan, first of all, because he has made many these kind of arguments in the past also, and now he is continuing. So a strict action must be there. Additionally, action must also be there for other people too, because it should not be like that this targeting which is happening, and because the person does not belong to the ruling party, that is also an angle given to this issue. So that also must be taken care of. First thing, action must be taken against Azam Khan, and a strict action. Maybe we should suspend the speaker must suspend the MP there, but the action should also be taken against other people, because it is about the issue of legitimacy, it is the issue of decency, it is the issue of being reasonable, it is the issue of being respectful. All these things are missing from parliamentarian debates. So that is the case, and singling out somebody would not be the best solution. Whoever is making these kind of mistakes, all should be taken on the line. Now, next article, ban or regulate. It is regarding cryptocurrencies. Subhash Chandra Garg committee was there regarding the issue of cryptocurrencies and virtual currencies, and here government said that private cryptocurrencies, they will be banned totally, and any discussion on the cryptocurrencies or their introduction in the future, that would be on RBI and the central government. So they have said this thing in this particular bill which was there, and the bill's name was only banning the cryptocurrencies. So they were titling it as banning the cryptocurrencies, but that was regarding the private cryptocurrencies. And the writer says that maybe it is not a best answer to the position, because cryptocurrencies are a new arena, and we are known to these things for some years now, but we have not introduced that, and any country officially in the control of their central banks, they have not introduced this currency. So that's the thing, and there is a big issue, and we know that in future these kind of things will be there, and more than the cash or any kind of transactions, these virtual currencies will be very much important, because the technology, blockchain technology, is very much important. The distributed public ledger technology is very important here. So that is raising some stakes there, because it is reliable as the proofs say. But here you see, government's moves in these issues, that is important. Their control is important, and central government's authorization and important introduction is crucial. But this is not so a simple issue, and many countries, they have not gone for a ban. Only China has gone for a ban, and many countries are there for regulation of it. So regulation may be the best answer instead of going for a total ban. China, we know, takes strong decisions and harsh decisions sometime. So in some surveillance issues also we followed China there, but here as India mandates a complete ban, and even they said that 10 years imprisonment would be there for storing, selling, or the Bitcoin mining, or these things like that. So whatever we have known about these cryptocurrencies, and those were all private models, but the Bitcoin mining became a huge phenomena, and like the stocks, its values, they increased a lot, and it became a huge phenomena. And it is also a well documented thing that these bitcoins and all these virtual currencies were used on the dark net, and for child pornography, for illegal weapons buying and selling, all these things were there, and their cryptocurrency users were there in these dealings. So regulation is important, but outright ban may not be the best answer to it. So only this thing is given here. Many articles will come on this issue, because it is not a simple issue. Technical article will come, and a detailed one we will discuss in the upcoming time, because the bill has been here, and that's important. So GS paper 2 would be important here, and regarding this issue, it is also GS paper 2 and 1 also. And you see, it also makes an important point for essay 2, because it's by parliamentarians, means lawmakers. If they are involved in these kind of disrespect, then certainly it's a concerning issue, and India is facing all those issues, and that's why these are iconic things. So that is the reason that action must be taken this time against Azam Khan. Next, governing India through fiscal math. This article we will discuss in full depth. GS paper 2 and 3 both would be important here. We will also discuss this article, which is talking about the history, a kind of a dilemma when we went for supercomputers, and it was a difficult puzzle between Japan and America, and then ultimately we had to go on our own, and we developed supercomputers on our own. So that was the thing. In this article, the JAF which came from Trump, he said that Modi ji requested me to mediate here. So the same issue is being discussed here by various scholars there. Now V. Sudarshan says that it's time for India and Pakistan to walk the talk, and there have been many breaches of Simla agreement too, because we are citing Simla agreement there, and we are giving the reference that we are following the lines of Simla agreement, and for sure we will take this issue bilaterally only, and we have been maintaining this position for very long now. Now the writer says that when in 72 this Simla agreement was signed between Indira Gandhi and Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, the president of Pakistan. So this thing was huge, and Bangladesh was created at that time. After that it was signed, and the deal was more in favor of India's side, because we won the war at that time, and conditions were put by us there. Now we have remained towards a side where we say that we will solve it bilaterally only. Pakistan always wants to take it further on the international platform, but we are not in that favor. But you see, ultimately what we said in this Simla agreement, we said that whatever peaceful that would be, we will opt that, and we will solve it bilaterally for sure, and we are very much hopeful about that. But strictly it was not said that we will follow these lines only, but after that we have maintained this position. And Kargil war also happened. So during Kargil war also, Bill Clinton, the American president, he had to intervene here, because Pakistan went for the help to America, and Nawaz Sharif was there. First, when a daring bus ride was taken by our Prime Minister Vajpayee ji, and he went to Lahore, and this was all a celebratory moment at that time. But in a few months, what we got as a response, it was Kargil war, and it was a very testing time, and we attacked Pakistan so brutally that Pakistan deployed its nuclear missiles there, and it was a very testing time for both the prime ministers there. Nawaz Sharif was feeling a big fear for his life, because all these groups and army and all, they went too far. And when Bill Clinton said to Nawaz Sharif that you have to pull back from here, because this has become the most dangerous place on the earth. And Clinton also asked it to Vajpayee ji not to widen the war front. So that was a very in a way dangerous time, a testing phase, and at that time American president also had to intervene there. So we cannot say that breaches were not there, and this issue was always bilateral, because when two big countries they fight a war, then obviously some countries will be here. And in the February event also, when Trump said that I have talked to both the nations, and in the issue of Abhinandan's case, when America said that there must be a good news in few hours because I have talked to both the leaders there. So there was also a hint of a kind of a mediation there. You cannot call it a full-scale mediation, but that was a kind of intervening too. So many breaches have been there in the past. So the writer's ultimate suggestion is that we cannot make this thing very much a strict measure, that we will not discuss this anyway apart from being bilateral, and many breaches have been there in the past. So we must go for the best solution, and we have to walk the talk here. And the biggest priority today is not keeping this issue bilateral. Biggest priority is to solve the problem of Kashmir and solve the issue of India and Pakistan, because we are waiting for a big time here, because we are not very much active in the SARC position, we are not very much active in the Afghan situation, and we are aloof from the Taliban's position there. And Indo-Pacific, we have made some plans, but things are not executable because we are not recognized as the biggest country of the South Asia. Maybe we are, but the smaller countries, the neighbors and all, we have many issues there, and solving these issues we cannot take long strides there. So that's the situation, that we must take our neighbors on our side, and that is the first priority. And if we have to change tracks here, not changing the track, but some adjustments if we are making here on the tracks, and keeping this issue bilateral, but involving some important third place there, that should also not be ruled out here. So that is the case, and Trump's hint has been there, and we have to recognize that the world has changed since the Simla agreement that was signed 4 decades back, and India returned the land taken in battle on western border also, and to create lasting peace. LOC is now more firmly established than ever before, and as it is given in the last article, that we have discussed many issues and in the most detailed way, like Sar Creek, which is there in Gujarat, and Vular Barrage and Siachen in Jammu and Kashmir. So we have done many things there. So we need to take some new steps here so that we can solve the problem. Otherwise it's a deadlock, because both countries are putting their conditions there, and applying those conditions, nothing is possible. It's a perfect deadlock there, and we will be continuing with the present situation, and we will be losing soldiers on both sides of the borders, and it is not a good situation. Politics is going on, and politicians, they do not have to bear anything there, because whatever they would bear, these are soldiers and their families only. They will lose their lives, and these people are not going for this particular we must say a new kind of innovation there. That is also a huge problem. Next, we are discussing this article now. Here they are saying that the core issue is of fiscal deficit targeting. We had this particular law in 2003, the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Bill. Okay, and here this target was made, but you see, we have taken it so seriously, and the claims which are being made consistently by the present government, these are regarding the fiscal deficit management and the targeting of it. They are saying that we will bring it to 3%. Right now it is around 3.3%, and we will bring it to 3.1% by this year's end, and ultimately by the next year we will bring it to 3.0%. But the writer says, is it the only option that we should be concerned about? Because going for the targeting of fiscal deficit, is it the best move? And are all the countries in the world, they are going for this particular targeting? No. Obviously it is not the best way available. I'm sorry for this disturbance, these fools who are riding these bullets in the streets like that, and creating a lot of noise. I'm very, very sorry for that. So the targeting, is it the best available option there? That is the biggest question. Here writer says that fiscal prudence rewards economics. This statement was made by the previous finance minister there, and they are thumping their chest a lot on this issue, and this statement is very good, that fiscal prudence obviously rewards economics, but do we see that result there on the practical ground? And are these things being managed in an efficient way? And overall, can we say that whatever they are targeting, it is bringing best results? You see the macro condition there. Automobile sector, the best sector in the economy. It was kind of a sunrising sector, and it was kind of a giving great outputs, but that is gone to the docks, and 1/3 decline is there. Obvious decline is there. Jobs are gone. 70,000 jobs are gone, and some showrooms and all, they all are shut down now because of the no growth in the sector. And now the particular electric vehicles issue, that is upfront. So that is the situation. The employment scenario is going through a very bad phase, and we cannot be sure about the growth numbers which are being put up there. So many challenges remain, and the biggest issue of private investment, where government is putting all the stakes of the future growth on private investment, and that is already stuck, and there is no hope. There is no great hope in the near future that it will escalate. Because why? Government would go for money raising there. For sure, they would have to go for this these raises through these government bonds and other options, because they do not have options. Fiscal deficit they are targeting, and revenue deficit is the biggest problem there. Fiscal deficit has two important components: capital deficit plus revenue deficit. Capital deficit is because of capital expenditure, and revenue deficit is because of revenue expenditure. But revenue expenditure is not a great support there, it is a burden. Revenue expenditure means salaries, pensions, and intended expenditures, and in defense sector there are two types of expenditures, revenue and capital both. So for these ammunitions which are changing, so these are revenue expenditures. And like these schemes like PM Kisan and all, they are bringing a huge burden on the economy, and these are revenue expenditures, welfare schemes and all. So they need to fund that every year, and these are unintended sometimes. So a lot of burden is there because of revenue expenditure, and these are more than the receipts, and that's why it's a deficit. And the biggest problem is that revenue deficit is not coming down, and they are targeting fiscal deficit. Means where they are cutting on capital expenditure, means they are not ready to do this expenditure. And if they are not ready to do this capital expenditure, how the growth would be possible? Already some scholars in some articles since the budget came, they are saying that the government is not ready to do this expenditure. So how the growth would come? Because private investment is stuck. So the government has to spend here, but they are reluctant to spend there, and they are targeting fiscal deficit for 3%. And within this 3%, they are not clarifying the issue regarding the revenue deficit. According to the writer, the revenue deficit is being constant here, and if it is constant and fiscal deficit is coming down, means it's very less expenditure on the capital front, and that's the biggest problem. Capital investment is needed today, and because of this this expenditure is stuck, we are not getting any growth there, and the numbers are declining every day. And the automobile sales and all these kind of issues, they are a huge problem. Employment is a huge problem, but a government is thumping its chest on the issue of fiscal deficit targeting, and they are not telling about the revenue deficit issues. They are not clearing it. So that's why the point is twofold: whether the fiscal deficit should be the sole index of fixed fiscal management, and what a reduction in the deficit would achieve, what it is going to achieve, what we are going to achieve here. When bigger countries, they are not following this issue, and they have huge debts because they need to go for these capital expenditures. So is it the best way in India to follow this kind of situation, and in this testing times where economy is going through a big stress? So not always a perfect measure. While a sound fiscal policy is highly desirable, we all know about that, and the prudence is needed, but magnitude of fiscal deficit and its targeting not always the best issue everywhere. And when they are not telling what is happening to the revenue deficit, it's the bigger problem. And as the writer says, if the situation is like that, that revenue deficit is stuck, then surely it is going to be a problem in the future too, and we will see certainly a unknown future. We are undecided about that. And as Shashikant Das yesterday said, and it was a very concerning statement, he said that we are moving towards a unknown trajectory of the economy. So are we going to face a crisis there? And you see, writer puts it very effectively here. Unless the revenue deficit is kept explicitly in the picture, unless we do not bring it in the picture, we cannot reduce the soundness of the economic management. We cannot tell about the economic management whether it is good or not, good or very bad. It may be very, very bad, and a mere reduction in the fiscal deficit is not a guarantee. While a pathological adherence to the revenue account balance is itself avoidable, means we cannot stick to the revenue deficit only, but if it's a steady revenue deficit and we are targeting fiscal deficit, then it's a mockery of fiscal consolidation and its management, and that is for sure. So that can be a big possibility here, because many things from the government side, they are suspicious, because they are not clarifying many issues. Regarding the employment data, they did the same. Regarding the agricultural income, they are following the NSSO's 2013 data. After that, they did not go for any kind of survey there. So many issues are very much suspicious nowadays, and data are less reliable than they were ever before. So that's why many issues are there. And you see, they are talking about the history there. Since 1980s, it was not a huge problem. Revenue deficit was not there. And when rampant populism was introduced after 80s, then this issue became a huge problem, and it became so huge that till 2010s, it became the biggest problem, and fiscal deficit had a big chunk of revenue deficit there. And now still they are going for these welfare schemes and all, and for sure revenue deficits have become structural in India by now. Now, while the populism referred to is not the monopoly of any one political party, it is particularly stark in the case of present one, which relentlessly flags its virtue in lowering the fiscal deficit. They are claiming so high and taking so high a moral ground there, and tapping their back again and again, thumping their chest again and again about the fiscal deficit targeting. In the budget speech, most of the time they talked about the fiscal deficit targeting, but the writer is questioning this issue only, the central issue of the budget speech. They say that whatever they are relentlessly flagging about its virtue, is it right? Is it the best solution, or are they hiding something huge? That is the revenue deficit there. So that can be a hollow claim, and this government has lowered the fiscal deficit, that is for sure, and that is good. But though not as much UPA did in the past, means UPA government in the past, they went for a bigger lowering there, means they lowered with bigger numbers there. Although the fiscal deficit was huge at that time, and that's why the difference was huge, and they brought bigger numbers down. But the rewards are yet to be seen, means whatever they are targeting, whatever they are saying about the present government, whatever it is saying about the this targeting, and they are tapping their back that fiscal prudence gives its fruits to the economy. But where are the results? We are not observing anything on the ground, and even the precursors we are not observing here. Means if there is a hope in the future that we will make some growth here, so something should be visible here, but nothing is visible. And the export growth has slowed, this is evident, and unemployment rate that is also risen here. Now the issue of funding it, the borrowing, government, which has never done in the past, they are saying that we will go in the international markets and we will borrow in the foreign currency, and we all know that borrowing in the foreign currency has to be repaid in dollars again. Means forex reserve would be at the target in the future. Why? Because we are going for sovereign bonds now and some international borrowing in the dollars, and we are not learning from the mistakes of the world in the financial crisis of 2007. It is well known that no government, no country should be very much dependent on the market, because markets may fail big time, and they failed in 2008 and it was a huge crisis. But we are going in the same path, and in some other article also they discuss this issue of 2008 crisis. They are saying that Indian economy may be going towards similar kind of crisis because we are not hitting on the learnings there. And here the writer says that this crisis may be apparent in near future for the Indian economy, because we are not learning there. We are being dependent here on the market, and that may fail. If that is going to fail, then what we have to do? We will have to repay from our forex reserve, and that is at a good condition today. And we are again claiming that we have brought this reserve at this level, and that is the best thing, I must say, because more the fiscal reserve, the forex reserve is there, it's a better condition. But it may decline with a very fast pace. Why? Because if this is going to fail, which is not expected, but some suspicions are there, and this thing may become real. So if this issue is possible, then other factors are also there which will deplete the forex reserve, like the oil prices. They are rising with a pace, that is for sure, and other borrowings and all, that also we need to finance there. The trade deficits and all, these are also there. So forex reserve can also be the next target there. So that's why we need to be very much heedful of these situations, and we should not totally focus on the fiscal deficit targeting, and we have to do these capital expenditure there. Government cannot escape from the situation, and private investment is very much stuck, and it has been stuck for quite some time now, and for years it has been crying because funds are not available. The banking sector is also going through this crisis, and many things are going as a major shift. Privatizations are going on. We are selling the stakes of the government bodies, these PSUs and all. So what we have to see in the future, because the symptoms are very negative, and hopes, or whatever they are claiming so high, means the reality and their claims, they are totally different today. So that's the situation, but we need to be hopeful here, and we hope that they will take some heat here, and they will learn from the past mistakes of these economies, and they will not go totally for this targeting. They have to take some things into consideration there. Next article talks about a typical issue. It is a kind of a situation of dilemma for a developing nation when it is dealing with two advanced economies. When Rajiv Gandhi came in 84, and it was a landslide victory after Indira Gandhi's killing. New computer policy he brought, and a new software policy of 86 he brought there. And you see, it was a huge protest by Jan Sangh at that time. They brought Belgadis into the parliament. They said that bringing computers in this country will devastate the economy, and it will take all the jobs, and these are the same people who are going for total digitization. They hope for total digitization very soon. They are going for Aadhaar, they are going for e-governance. They are only talking about the cyber issues and the kind of snooping they want. This is all digital. So when this digital revolution started, then they went for total protest of it. And these are the same people, they are going for that. And they did the same with the FDI issue. They said that to the previous government that they are selling this country by bringing FDIs, and now they have made world records in FDIs. So these politics is very bad. But the issue here is that when we went for supercomputers at that time, we dealt with America, and America was the only country at that time which was heralding in this arena. And supercomputers, the Cray computers, they had brought up at that time. IBM and some companies like Fairchild, it was there. But Japan was the country which was going in a very advanced way, and within 4 decades it improved a lot. And in this area of supercomputers, Japan was improving a lot. And the Fujitsu company of Japan, even it went for a proposal that it wants to buy the Fairchild company of America. Fairchild company, it was a leading company, and it gave the term as Silicon Valley to the California's area where Facebook, Apple, they all started. So it was the same Silicon Valley, and Fairchild gave this name. And the same Fairchild, Japan wanted to borrow. Fujitsu wanted to borrow it. Buy it. So Japan was no behind, and it had this edge there. So it was very audacious by Japan. That's why it invited America's eyes there, and Ronald Reagan, he was there, the America's president, and it opposed this move and it cancelled this particular deal. So Japan and America, two countries were there. So we went with America first, but America put a lot of conditions, and this deal was stuck for 1 year. Then Rajiv Gandhi said that within 30 days we will go to Japan if this deal is not going to start. So Japan was very much happy about that, but America thought that if Japan is going to win this race, then it is going to be a big defeat here, because we are the leading nation here and we are not able to make this deal possible. Then they went ahead, and Japan also stepped back because it could not resist this overture by America. So America said yes, but in what terms? They wanted to sell the older version of the supercomputer there. They did not give it to India, the latest one. So that's why it became a huge problem. And ultimately, we had to start the CDEC there. CDEC was established there in Pune, and it is now working under Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. And you must read about that. It has been there in many e-governance issues there. It's a leading body there, and they financed the supercomputer project within India. We went with Soviet Russia, and we started developing our own supercomputer there. So Param 8000 was our first one. Vijay Ketkar was leading this project, and we made this possible. And when it became a reality, and we introduced our own supercomputer there, that was ranked at the second position on the world after the US ones. So this was all there because America could not provide us the latest one. Why? Because some suspicions were there. In 82-83, our integrated guided missile development program started in the leadership of Mr. Kalam, and we also wanted that for our monsoon situation, because supercomputers are very much helpful in weather predictions. Only they can do this prediction. So we needed supercomputer at that time. But America feared that India would go for these missile developments, and we had done the nuclear experiment in the past. So they were very much suspicious about this situation. So that's why they did not provide us with the latest one. But we went there and we developed our own with the help of Soviet Russia. And that was not totally acceptable for America, because Soviet Union, it was a Cold War time. Although Soviet Union was not able to resist American pressure there, and they disintegrated very soon in 1991. So that was a struggling time for Soviet Russia, and we were at a very nascent stage. So we both worked together and we developed our Param series, and Param 8000 was the first one. So that's the case. So now we are facing a similar situation here, where 5G technology is going to be introduced in many countries. Huawei, Chinese company, that day it was Japan, today it is China. Huawei is the leading company, and it has a certain edge there, and it is a leading company, and we have to deal with that. UK is dealing with that, many other countries, Russia, all these countries are dealing with that. Europe is discussing this issue. America is saying that we will introduce that. Although Huawei is a leading company, but America has put many tariff issues there. Trade war is going on, and they arrested the CFO's Huawei company. So many escalations are there against the Huawei company, because they say that allegations are there that it is working with the PLA, the army of China, and they are swooping on Americans with Huawei systems. So they are against that. But you see, here we have to take a decision because we have to introduce 5G very soon, and we cannot stay behind. And it's a very great technology. It is going to be a very fast technology, unbelievable technology, and it will bring to the speeds at GBPS. Today it is MBPS, it will bring to GBPS stage. So that's why we have to go for that. And here the writer says, ultimately US-China technology rivalry is eminently political. one in which India should not take sides. If anything new, New Delhi should take care to see how history is not repeating itself, and we have experiences to learn. And much like US, Japan understanding on the supercomputers, Osaka, the recent G20 summit happened. Then also we discussed this issue with America. So Osaka also saw the beginning of US rapprochement with China on technology trade. Means they are going for some discussions there. So we have to take a decision now, and we should take this decision totally on our interest. We have to see our economic interest there, because we cannot become political here, and the geopolitics should not affect our economic decision. That is all for this article, and this is all for today. We will meet again with some other important details and articles. Next article is regarding the surrogacy issue. We have discussed that in the past. Okay, you can read that. I have discussed this issue. So we have discussed this issue that altruistic surrogacy is allowed and commercial surrogacy is banned in India. But the total ban may not be a best decision. It's a issue to be discussed ethically, because poverty is the big issue. They are talking about the Indian ethos and the particular ethical issue, and that's good. Law Commission report has also suggested that commercial surrogacy should be outrightly banned, but more things are also here, like poverty is here, that they need to pay attention, because poverty is the big reason that these poor ladies, they are going for this commercial surrogacy, because they are earning some lakh rupees here, and it is uplifting their family income and the family financial situation. So that is also a legitimate reason. You cannot rule it out totally, because the condition of poor is apparent in India, the inequality is apparent in India. So how much government is supporting the poor, we all know practically. And now they are taking a moral ground on this issue, where they are earning some money, and rich people or the foreigners, they are coming to these poor ladies, and they are taking care for their health for 1 year, and they are giving the income support, the financial support there. So they think that it is good. Some ladies think that it is good, but it's a kind of exploitation because of the poor condition. So ethically this is totally wrong, and I support the government here that they should ban it totally, as they have banned it already. But they also should pay attention to the poverty condition. That is the big reason that they are going for that. This exploitation is happening because of the poverty. What you are doing for that, that is to be discussed here, and that's why it's a perfect dilemma. So it can be a great question for GS paper 4, and it can be a great discussion for essay topic. So that is all for today. We will meet again tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit Sen.